All right, welcome to Food Prep Sunday edition. Really been going back to some of the old staples that I used to do and kind of got away from. Sweet potatoes have always been a big part of the diet. When I first started in the gym, it was like, I needed carbohydrate, but I really didn't want anything like highly inflammatory, so I stayed away. And also in the CrossFit world at the time, like any grains were considered like bad, so we didn't even really mess with rice that much. I put that in later, but like we really messed with potatoes. I didn't even really do a lot of oats back then because oats weren't even like really good. It was like pretty much potatoes was like your only jam that you could really go to. And so I ate a ton of sweet potatoes. I would eat them all the time. I'd use sweet potato, coconut oil, and I created this sweet potato yum yum recipe back in the day. It was like it was like a sweet potato with this frozen strawberry. I don't even know if I did the frozen strawberries back then. I just did sweet potato, cinnamon, coconut milk. I was always looking for high calorie fats to help kind of increase the nutrient density of each meal that I ate, because I couldn't eat enough to keep the weight on. And when I was doing CrossFit multiple times a week, right, it was like I was burning so much, my metabolic rate was just so high, and you're just doing a lot of general fitness stuff. You're not necessarily doing hypertrophy, or like I wasn't doing a lot of time under tension, all compound lifts and stuff, but just not sets and reps in a way that was focusing on building muscle mass. It was more just about general strength, fitness, capacity, and being, a good athlete without gaining a ton of weight. And then once I wanted to start to bulk a little bit, I had to increase the carbs. So fruits and sweet potatoes and raw honey, those were big staples. So now went through a phase where I really focused on gains and got a little more into the macro counting, and if it fits your macros is not necessarily quality specific. You don't have to have high quality food. You don't have to have whole foods. You can get away with different diet food products and supplement hacks, so using protein powders and Greek yogurts and sugar-free syrups, and just a lot of different ways to hit your numbers and enjoy your food, which is awesome. But I found for me overall, I feel my best when I start to lean back towards more whole foods and a little bit less supplementation and a little bit less powders and pills and just like diet type products. So today, we're just gonna throw 4 sweet potatoes in the oven. I got a little tray with the tin foil, so when they cook, they like leak out the stuff, and this keeps it from having to clean the pan. It's a pain in the ass, so you just put the strip of tin foil in there, use a tray with the sides, and I'm putting it on 350. It takes about an hour, and I'm just gonna do like 4 at a time. I'll use 2 or 3 to make my sweet potato thing, and then you can use the other ones for whatever. I can make just like as a side with the dinner. If I want like a bison burger, I'll do like just like a straight sweet potato, and I'll just eat that with my broccoli and my meat. So game on. That's a patty from earlier. We're just reheating it because I'm about to eat me some dinner there with that. But again, super simple. We got burgers, we got bison, we got chicken. Those are the staples. We got ground turkey, which we'll make for the sort of like the taco meat, and then we've got just different chicken recipes. That is what we've done literally for probably 20 years. Jen's a master at it. She comes up with the good recipes. We try them as a family. If the kids like them, if I like them, she makes a note, she puts them in the binder. She's got a great rotation of different marinades and ways and seasonings, because the biggest thing when you're playing this game for a long time is you just get bored, right? It's either chicken, fish, turkey, beef, that's it, right? Like there's only 5, 6, 7 protein sources. We don't, like most of our family's allergic or sensitive to dairy, so we don't do a lot of Greek yogurt, we don't do a lot of cottage cheese. Those are good hacks if you are not super sensitive to it, to get protein in other ways, whey protein, another good hack. We don't really use those stuff. So any like milk-based products are not really there. So that just leaves you meat and eggs. That's what we eat. So you have to make it taste good. And when you do it enough, you have a variety and your body feels good eating those type of foods. You don't really get sick of it. I've been eating patties with the Montreal steak seasonings like for years, and it's delicious to me. And I have broccoli with lemon and fresh lemon, squeezed lemon juice, and coconut oil and salt. Those with the sweet potato or the rice or whatever, it's just standard. And then whenever we combine that with whatever Jen makes and these different recipes, it's enough of a variation that you just don't get sick of it. That's just what we do. And then that gives us our 80 to 90%, depending on what phase of the game we're in. And then the other 10 to 20% would be pizza, eating out, you know, stopping at fast food because we're busy with the kids. So it's like, that's our balance. And that's just what you do. You don't get sick of it. It's not a diet, it's not a challenge, it's just how we eat. So with that being said, somebody just commented about our A1 sauce. Man, we love us some A1 sauce in the Coffin House. I'm gonna have to do some research, but I do not know what people are talking about. We're not one of those families that's like super phobic about using things that are toxic. My belief on that is everything in this world is toxic to some degree. And a lot of the things from the research I've personally done is a lot of the things that a lot of these clickbait articles and influencers will tell you are toxic are things that in the dosage that you would consume them in, there's not really any science to back that as being something that's super toxic. So, and one of the ways that I've heard it explained that makes sense to me is like, it's about the dosage. Even water at the wrong dosage is toxic, right? Water gives life. We need water. But if you overconsume water, you can literally die. So like even the simplest things at the wrong amount can be toxic, and even the most toxic things at a fractional amount can be negligible. Now, do I think that means that you should just consume all these artificial sweeteners and colors and dyes? No, like again, like I said, the longer I played the game, the more I lean back to eating as natural, as clean, as healthy as possible. And you try to minimize those things because you will notice them. When you treat your body like a high performance machine and you consume high quality, close to the natural way that God made stuff, and you consume that on a regular basis, you will feel and notice when you eat some bullshit that does not agree with your system. And so we've had experience with freaking Red 40 and the Gatorade with our kids when they were younger, and it freaking make them bounce off the walls. So I'm not one of those science people that if it fits your macros and like, oh, there's no clinical studies that prove that this Red 40 is toxic, so you could just eat as much as you want. Like, that's all just fear-mongering bullshit. No, we've seen it. We've lived it and we've seen it. So it is something that I do believe you should try to avoid. But if your kid has a Gatorade, he's not gonna die. Like, we're consuming toxic stuff through the air we breathe, through the plastic products we use every day. Like, we're all gonna die anyways. So our goal is to be as clean and as healthy as possible, but we're not gonna freak out about it. We're not gonna be one of those people that buys every single item organic. We wash our clothes in certain weird shit. We do like any possible thing. Like, you can go down the rabbit hole and guess what? You're still gonna die. We're all gonna die. So let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater and act like, you know, this stuff is super critical, but let's not ignore it and act like we can just consume diet soda and it's fucking great for you and it's the same as water. Like, I've seen that story too. Like, dude, if you gotta drink Diet Coke, better than regular Coke for you? Yeah, from a calorie and a sugar perspective, but is Diet Coke better than water or equivalent? Fuck no, not even close. Like, it's fucking poison, it's toxic, it sucks. So just, you can use the arguments and the science to justify whatever angle you want, but at the end of the day, you know what's healthy, you know what works, and you might have to learn that through trial and error, but at the end of the day, like, we're gonna do what's best for our family, and we're gonna try to eat the cleanest and the best possible. And that involves eating the right amount of fuel, the right amount of calories, the right amount of protein, the right amount of, and leaning towards the most natural possible that we can get. You know, as much free range, organic, minimally processed as we can, and we're still gonna eat pizza. That's what we do. So I'm gonna still use my A1 on this burger, because when I reheat a burger, it tastes like shit, and I love A1. So we're gonna research what the toxicity is in the A1, but at the end of the day, I'm still gonna eat the A1. That minimal dose, it's not gonna kill me. All right, I love you guys. Let's have an awesome week. I'll talk to you soon.